It's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio and the longest-running show on this channel. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal, Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medicine provider, gives me street cred with the whack alternative medicine asshats. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
And my partner in all things, Tacey. Hello, Tacey.
What's up?
This is a show for people who had never listened to a medical show on the radio. If you got a question you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider, if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call at 347-766-4323. That's 347-POOHEAD. Visit our website at drsteve.com for podcasts, medical news, and stuff you can buy. I can't mention contractually. Most importantly, we're not your medical providers. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on this show without talking over with your doctor, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, pharmacist, chiropractor, acupuncturist, yoga master, physical therapist, or whatever. All right, very good. Please check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. That's simplyherbals.net. And, he's still got the best CBD nasal spray ever. I don't know anybody else that makes that. Have you ever seen anybody else make that stuff?
Nothing.
I've never. No.
Not close.
What's wrong with them? It's perfect.
It is fabulous.
It has that kind of earthy CBD smell, and it's quite delightful.
Let's hope the big boys figure it out a long time from now.
Yeah, right. Or just sell out to one of them.
Yeah, no, that's a better idea.
Yeah, anyway. All right, very good. We have several questions, and I've got one old question that actually is going to stimulate some discussion on new research, which I think will be pretty good. And we also have, I'm going to discuss, I got into a flame war on Reddit in the Chat GPT subreddit of all places. And someone had posted an article that said that ChatGPT provided more empathetic answers than physicians in this one study that they did. And it's like, well, it's easy for it to display. Number one, large language models don't have empathy. They don't have anything. There's no internal process going on. The way large language models work is they simply predict the next word that should come out of their mouths to make language work, to make it seem like natural language. That's really what they're there for, and how they work. So they're really good at abstracting information, and they're good at being chatbots, just talking to you, and you can set them up to sound extremely empathetic. In other words, where they're all, they're validating you and all that kind of stuff. It turns out this study was complete horse shit because it was taken off of comments from some subreddit or something like that. I'll have to pull the original article, but that wasn't my point. My point was ask it a legit medical question and see what you get, because it will hallucinate and just make up stuff, and it's freaking dangerous.
Right.
And then people came back to me and said, "Well, it passes the MCATs and the medical exam better than a lot of doctors do." It's like, yeah, okay, so what? It multiple choice questions. The thing can dope out what using test taking skills and some knowledge. It can dope out the answer, but when do you want? I mean, I know lots of doctors. Tacey can attest to this, that passed the exams and they ain't worth a shit.
No, God, no. When people ask me who they should go see, I really have to pause because I know too much.
Right.
And there's very few that I can actually recommend. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. The amount of cognition that's being performed in the heads of some of my colleagues is just it's unbelievable how little it is.
It's either bad bedside manner, bad intelligence, bad nursing, I mean, there's something bad in just about every office that
lack of attention,
bad billing. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, it's gotten so complex. It's almost impossible to do a good job.
Yes.
And the EMR didn't help. We were forced to switch to computerized charts before we were ready. And for example, I used to see 4 patients an hour, and my patients never felt like I was giving them short shrift. And when we switched to the first EMR that we had to go to every 20 minutes. And now with this EMR, it's every 30. So I'm seeing half as many people a day as I was. But they're all taking longer, and so you're ending up billing more because you bill on how much time it takes to do stuff.
Yes.
Everything takes longer than it used to. And I used to have these, just sort of a check thing. I could check for somebody that was there for just a medication refill, and I could spend the rest of the time just talking to them.
Yep.
Now, I have learned how to work on the computer and make eye contact and do my note while I'm talking, because if I don't do that, I will be getting home 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and it has contributed to burnout.
Yep.
So there's that. And then cookbook sort of medicine, we used to use a thing called a problem list, and you would put it on the front of the patient's chart when they were admitted to the hospital. And you would say, acute GI bleed, congestive heart failure, exacerbation of, COPD. And then as you saw the patient every day, that page stayed on the front of their chart. And as each thing resolved, you would cross off the problem, low potassium. You fix that, you cross it off.
Yep.
And then when you were left with nothing but chronic problems, the patient went home.
Gotcha.
Now, that problem list is used solely for billing.
Yeah.
It's not on the front of the chart like it was, because there is no chart anymore. No. It's just a computer screen. And it is used to make sure that you're getting the maximum, and not you, but the hospital. Mm-hmm. So the hospital will stay on top of you and say, well, now, can you add sepsis with low blood pressure instead of just sepsis, because then the hospital makes a few more bucks that way. Mm-hmm. So those things are just used for billing. And a lot of the things that are put in the chart is just for billing or quality points. We have people who are in a thing called an ACO, and it's I can't remember what it is. I'm having a senior moment, but basically it's a group where you can make more money if you do good medicine, right?
Okay.
But some of the things are, well, did you discuss advanced care planning? So you just have in your template, advanced care planning was discussed, blah, 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 whether you talked about it or not, and you tick that thing off.
Yep.
You get to check that box off. So there's a lot of bloat in the charts now too. But anyway, so it would be nice to have an AI assistant that could help you and answer medical questions for you. But the problem is ChatGPT ain't it. And so this flame war started because people said, well, I asked it a question and it told me exactly what was wrong with me.
Why are you doing this? Have you not learned your lesson after I don't know how many years
No, I haven't learned my lesson.
Of arguing with people over the
No, I haven't learned my lesson.
internet.
And the part of the thing is I'm trying to help save somebody.
But you'll never change anybody's mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I one time got in an argument and lost when this...
the Disney thing?
No, well, that. But this lady said that doctors got paid
Accountable Care Organization.
for what...
Thank you, Amanda.
That doctors got paid for what they were prescribing.
Yeah.
And that's not
which
true.
Is complete horseshit.
You are a physician.
I wish.
I'm a drug rep. I lost that battle. I just got over it and just said, oh, just go get your flu shot. And she was like, ha, 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 I won. And it's like, you are so wrong. You could not be more wrong.
Well, the problem is people are actually using these things for, to ask medical questions and other questions like that. And I'm just going to give you an example. And you're right. I just finally just stopped responding. I stopped responding because people weren't actually listening to reason.
And they won't ever.
I get it. Yeah. But so but I do want to talk a little bit about the types of things that these large language models will say, just as a caveat to the few people out there that will actually listen to what the F I'm saying.
No.
Again, if you ask ChatGPT or Bing is ChatGPT or Bard or any of those,
Okay.
are you a medical model? They'll say, no, I'm a language model.
Okay.
And so they're there to generate language. So I did a presentation for a large health system on the use of AI in medicine. And one of the things that I showed them was board questions. So I threw some board questions at it. And one of the questions, this was the one that really stuck out in my head. One of the questions was, you have an 80-year-old female with medical frailty and osteoporosis who complains of vertigo. You work her up and she has vascular vertigo. In other words, she's got clogs in her vertebral arteries going to her brain, and she has vertigo. What's the best treatment for this? And one of them was physical therapy for balance, and another one was a drug called meclizine, and there were three other just bullshit things.
Okay.
And the ChatGPT said, meclizine is the drug of choice for vertigo. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, so meclizine is, it's like Benadryl. It's an anticholinergic medication
Right.
that causes dry mouth, dizziness, somnolence, and in the elderly can cause dementia or delirium and all kinds of stuff. It's completely contraindicated in this lady with osteoporosis because she falls down.
Now she's a fall risk. Yeah, increases
Right.
fall risk. Yeah.
It increases her fall risk. And so it said, meclizine, it gave this answer. Now, unless you knew that was bullshit, that answer was great. You go, and I said, wait a minute. Are you sure? It said, oh, yes, meclizine is the drug of choice for this. And I said, have you ever heard of the Beers list? Now, the Beers list is a list of medications that are problematic in the elderly.
Okay.
Meclizine is at the top of that list.
Right on.
And I said, have you ever heard of the Beers list? And ChatGPT said, oh, yes, of course. And meclizine, fortunately, meclizine is not on the Beers list. And I went, okay, well, let me just show you the Beers list. And so I gave it a URL and I said, here's the Beers list. Meclizine is obviously on the list. And then it says, oh, yes, you're correct. I apologize for the misinformation before. Meclizine is on the Beers list and should not be given to this patient. It's like, but I had to know that.
Yep.
I had to know that the answer was bullshit. And these people who were saying, well, no, it's great for medicine, have Gell-Mann amnesia. Do you remember when we talked about Gell-Mann amnesia? Do you remember? Were you here, Tacey, when we talked about that?
Know.
It's incredible, yeah.
So Gell-Mann amnesia, I'll give you an example, is when you have a a news story that you know something about. And everything is wrong in the story. Yeah. When I was in Vermont, they did a story about our health clinic, and every single thing that they said was incorrect. They got my name wrong. They got the name of the clinic wrong. They got the name of the town wrong. Everything was wrong, right? But then they tell us another story about Afghanistan, and we are like, wow, isn't that interesting? And we assume that everything's right. Why would we think anything was right? We have this amnesia. We've forgotten that they get everything wrong or get enough stuff wrong that you can't trust it.
Right.
Okay? There's several other examples of Gell-Mann amnesia. I remember hearing Jesse Ventura on Opie and Anthony. And the one time he talked about something I knew something about, it was complete horseshit because he's talking about mind control and the HAARP and all this stuff. And then he was talking about fluoride in the water.
Okay.
And he said, well, fluoride is one of the main ingredients in Prozac. And it's like, oh, ding, ding, ding. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Jesse. Okay.
It's fluoxetine.
Fluoxetine has fluoride atoms in it. Fluorine atoms in it. That is correct. They are there because they are electrophilic. In other words, they will pull electrons toward them so that the other end of the molecule will be more active. That's what makes fluoxetine work. Okay? It's not fluoxetine, aka Prozac, isn't a cake. It's not an ingredient.
Right.
It's part of the molecule. It's not like you just threw a bunch of fluorine. And so the fluoride that they put in water has a completely different chemical activity than the fluorine atoms that are in Prozac.
Okay.
And that's when I knew that he didn't know what the F he was talking about. And probably everything else that he said was bullshit too, but I didn't know about HARP. I don't know about all that stuff. So it sounded interesting when he said it. But if I were to take that at face value, but know that he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about when it comes to fluoride, then that would be another example of Gell-Mann amnesia. So these people on this subreddit are always talking about how GPT is constantly hallucinating, just makes up stuff. That's what it's supposed to do.
Right.
But yet, when it comes to medical stuff, they're like, oh, no, it's better than doctors. And it's like,
things,
come on.
Okay, so we've had plenty on that topic.
That's insane, though.
Okay, I guess I need to move on. Okay. All right.
I believe it is time for...
Oh, there we go.
It's Tacey's time of topics. A time for Tacey to discuss topics of the day. Not to be confused with Topic Time with Harrison Young, which is copyrighted by Harrison Young and Area 58 Public Access. And now, here's Tacey.
Well, hello. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'd like to talk about the absolute worst ways to die. Let's hope this doesn't go on with you this year.
Okay.
The first one is Hisachi-Ouchi radiation incident, radiation poisoning, and it happens when you receive a large amount of radiation in a large dose or just over time. With chronic diseases such as radiation, is the biggest risk is cancer.
Right.
This man named Eben Byers drank Radithor,
Spill it.
Radithor for many years, a drink containing radium that is touted as a miracle cure.
Oh, boy.
After several years of necking
Yeah, it was a
radiation
radioactive
juice,
mineral water drink. It was
Yeah.
sold in the 1920s.
like he was drinking it like it was going out of style.
Radium is really one of the most toxic substances known to man, milligram per milligram.
Wow.
Go ahead.
He began to lose weight, get headaches, and many of his teeth began to fall out. He told his doctor that he'd lost that toned up feeling, which is a fairly mild way of putting that your bones have begun to crumble.
Oof.
Before his death, lawyers trying to get radiation products regulated reported that Byers' whole upper jaw, except for 2 front teeth, and most of his lower jaw had been removed, and that all the remaining bone tissue of his body was disintegrating and holes were actually forming in his skull.
Oh,
This is
my
a
goodness.
precursor to energy drinks. This actually had energy in it. It was just radioactive energy.
Yes.
They thought radium was like magic. It was the manufacturer claimed Radithor provided energy and cured a number of ailments, including impotence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
And then in real
Fixes erectile dysfunction, they'll take it.
they'll buy it.
Yep.
But what it really did is made your junk fall
rot, yeah.
off.
Yeah. The story also goes on and tells a story about an acute incident, which didn't go much better, and they all died too.
Oh, jeez.
What about a hyena accident?
Oh, that's it. I think that sounds worse than the radio.
Hyena attack.
Yeah.
If you're
sounds
going to
worse.
get eaten by a large predator,
Oh, they'll just eat you alive.
try not to make it a hyena.
Okay, well, tell us about it.
Predators like lions will generally try to take down the prey quickly, snapping their neck or suffocating it using their jaws on the prey's throat. This isn't out of concern for the animal, but to stop them fighting back. Hyenas have a much more brutal technique, resulting in the animal watching as they are torn apart and eaten. The method with a larger game is to chase a herd at a steady pace, though working individually rather than as a pack, keeping up sufficiently close for each pursuer to make repeated bites into legs and hindquarters until one of the hunted animals can take no more and sinks to the ground. Whereupon the whole gathering of hyena breaks off the hunt, falls upon the victim, and devours it, ripping up the belly and starting with the soft internal organs while the victim is still alive.
Oh, can you imagine how just
Good
horrific
God.
that would be?
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is a Happy New Year. This story actually came from Dr. Steve.
Well, I'm doing.
It's a Happy New
I'm
Year story.
Okay. I'm doing research for my first Weird Medicine Minute on Dave Landau's Normal World. And the first question was, what's the worst way to die?
Okay.
Well,
gotcha.
you've got several
And,
opportunities.
well, I have a different answer than what was in there. That's
Oh.
why I gave that to you.
Okay.
But the hyena thing.
The
is
hyena
really-
one's
I may have to
pretty-
add that to the
that's pretty
script.
Drowning in a toilet, which I wouldn't have thought would be all that bad. According to those who have experienced drowning and come back to tell the tale, it generally involves panic and pain, followed by a feeling of peace and tranquility, likely caused by a lack of oxygen. So they say it's one of the more peaceful way to go after the worst 15 seconds of your life. You might not feel so peaceful and tranquil, of course, if the substance you are drowning in happens to be poop. This happened to a group of nobles in July 1184 when they met to resolve a conflict in St. Peter's Church in Erfurt. The event's organizers did not take into account the weight involved in such a large gathering, where many of the attendees were in heavy chainmail. The floor gave way, plunging most of them into a cesspool below, and 60 to 100
Oh, and they had
people
chainmail on, so they're not
Yeah.
getting
They're
up.
not getting out of there.
drowned in monk excrement and pee.
Oh my goodness.
And monk excrement is the worst.
Yes.
You
with
gotta.
some
worse.
being fortunate enough to merely die via falling infrastructure. Okay. So what about if you have worms and they get cancer?
Yeah, we did that story once, but go ahead and repeat it. This is an amazing story.
Okay, so getting killed by cancer is terrible luck, of course, but spare a thought for a man who died after his parasitic worm got cancer. In 2015, a man from Colombia died after his tapeworm got cancer, and the cancer cells from the worm spread around his body. The 41-year-old, who was HIV positive, began suffering fatigue and weight loss over several months, as well as fever and cough. CT scans showed that his lungs and liver were filled with tumors of an
It was
unusual
metastatic
kind.
cancer, but it was
Yeah.
tapeworm cancer.
They were about 10 times smaller than medics expected. Testing eventually showed that the cancerous cells contained, here we go, Hymenolipus nana DNA, but the patient died 72 hours after
that would be
admission.
tapeworm. And that's something I think PA Lydia, because she works in in oncology, brought that story once before, but it's worth repeating.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really hard to believe.
Yeah, so if you have a tapeworm, kill it.
Yeah.
Don't keep
Get
it.
rid of it, yeah. Oh my gosh.
And the last terrible way to die for this New Year celebration is the Nutty Putty Cave incident.
What?
West of Utah Lake, there is a cave with the innocuous name of Nutty Putty. The cave was named after its viscous clay on its.
Nutty
Don't
Putty,
you
you
start? Don't. No.
a
Neither
kid.
one of you. I
He's
mean
a
it.
good nutty.
I like them nutty.
He's a.
You're ruining my story.
Oh, okay, we're ruining it.
Okay. The cave
ahead.
was named after the viscous clay on its walls, which oozed and felt a little like silly putty when it was pushed. So you can't have myrtle when I'm talking about rock that's like silly putty.
Yeah.
So this guy basically was exploring the cave with its narrow passages, and
We used to get them when the ice cream truck came.
Oh, my
I
God.
love them nutty putties.
I'm just not even going to. These people got lost and found themselves in an unmapped part of the cave.
Okay.
They thought they spotted an opening
Oh.
and began to crawl inside. One of them believed he saw the opening on the other side, but was incorrect. And as he wormed his way, and inch by inch, he became wedged in
It's
there.
probably bioluminescence.
And it was like silly putty, so there was no way of getting himself back out of the way he came.
Rat farts.
And they tried to save him, and of course he can't. They closed the cave down, and he is
still there.
forever entombed.
In that,
It took him 27 hours to die
in that nutty putty.
while they were trying to help get
Oh,
him out.
Lord bless it.
So Happy New Year, everyone.
Nutty putty.
Saxon Savage says, I came here for Myrtle and I was not disappointed. So there you go.
Why?
Nutty putty reminds me of that nanner sandwich I had earlier.
You know what? If you lived with Myrtle, you wouldn't be saying
they
that.
They wouldn't love Myrtle so much, would they?
No.
You know, we used to do this thing. Thank you, Taste. Those were delightful.
Those are fabulous.
My niece Holly gave me this book, the fantastic Flatulent Fart Brothers Big Book of Farty Facts, an illustrated guide to the science, history, and art of farting. I would have said passing flatus, but and then I found here the oldest fart joke. It says the world's oldest joke ever recorded was a fart joke. It was discovered on tablets written in the ancient land of Sumeria 4,000 years ago.
Huh.
And it went like this. It's not much of a joke, a comedy one. Something which has never occurred since time immemorial. A young woman did not fart in her husband's lap. So there's a bunch of double negatives and stuff in there. So what they're saying is young women are always passing gas while they're sitting in their husband's lap. So apparently that was hilarious back then.
A thing. How funny.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's all.
Get nothing. You lose.
Anyway, all right. Very good. Okay, thanks, Taste.
You're welcome.
I had, all right. Let me just give you one more example of this Chat GPT.
Oh, no.
There we go.
Why?
Yes, yes,
Why?
this one more,
are,
one more.
are you arguing with someone in the Fluid family?
No.
No, he's not.
Why are we doing it then?
I'm overseeing him.
Well, I don't. Okay. All right.
Do it.
I'll do it as a live stream. Fuck it. Don't worry about it.
Fuck it. Let's do it live.
Hi, Dr. Steve. My name is Greg. I live in the Woodstock, New York area. I've been sick for about 2.5 weeks, and I'm getting better, but I have this smell in my nose. Smells like a burnt toast. I don't know what it is. I'll be listening. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Okay. Scott, you want to take a stab at that one? I think I know what it is.
Smelling nose smells like burnt toast.
When I was in kindergarten, there was this kid in my class, and I remember this, and he smelled like burnt toast. He smelled weird, and I called him Burnt Toast because I didn't know his name.
No, I can't.
Every time I saw him, he smelled like burnt toast.
No, I'm stumped.
Well, he's been sick,
Yeah.
so he's probably got a sinus infection.
Yeah.
And I suspect he's got some bacteria in his nose that are, or he could have a polyp.
Some
or
blood
just,
build up in there.
Yeah, or some just dry mucus or, inspissated mucus
Right.
or dried blood. So what I would do with that is get some Simply Saline, which is aerosolized saline. Don't get the extra strength. It sucks. Just get the normal one. And what you can do with that is you put your head down so that, because remember, your nasal passages actually go straight into your head. Have you ever seen a chimp's nose? They don't have a bridge to their nose. The two holes go straight in. You could just take your two fingers and stick it in
Like a
both
bowling
of their
ball.
nostrils.
Kinda
Right, like a bowling
ball.
ball. Right. And you could do that with yours too, but we have this bridge in the nose that makes it look like our nose goes up, but it doesn't. It goes straight in. So you want to look at the toilet. You do this or the sink, and so that your face is parallel to the earth, and then spray directly perpendicular to the earth up into your nose. And the great thing about Simply Saline is it goes way up in there, and you can snort it back, and you will not feel any discomfort.
It won't burn you up.
It's perfectly. It's the perfect concentration, the perfect pH.
Good.
And you just snort it back, do it on both sides, and then blow your nose. Now, if you have an extra $80 laying around, I would go buy a Navage. The Navage, if you go on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@weirdmedicine, there are videos of NP Mel B doing the Navage with the creator of the Navage, Martin Hoke, who apparently, by the way, sold the company for a boatload of money and is off, just traveling the world. Good for him.
Just yachting around.
Yeah, congratulations to Martin. He was a nice guy. But I would get the Navage, and for people who don't know what I'm talking about, you put distilled water in it. It's got little saline pods to make perfectly buffered saline. And you stick this thing up to your nostrils. It's got nose nipples. And you stick them in there, and you push the button, and it shoots saline in one nostril and sucks it out the other one. It's like a neti pot, but you don't have to look stupid doing it. I mean, if you ever Google people doing neti pot, I mean, they look really, really dumb.
It works amazing.
It is amazing. Even Tacey was a skeptic.
Yes, such a skeptic.
But it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that, I think, will fix your problem if you've got some sort of infected mucus or something in your nose that's causing the smell. All right?
Yeah, that was his name.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Let's see here.
Hey, folks.
Whoa.
Hello, Casey and Fluid family.
What's
Hey,
up?
Kate Machucci. I know I'm going to mispronounce her name. Machucci, actress from The Big Bang Theory and several other things.
I don't know who she is.
43 years old and diagnosed with lung cancer, even though she's never smoked a cigarette once in her life, according to her. And then I read one study that said 80% of the people, that had lung cancer are from smoking, but 20% have never smoked and still get lung cancer. That's a little strange.
Well,
anyway, thank you. Bye, Casey.
Goodbye.
Okay, well, the deal is that smoking accounts for 80% of lung cancer, but that means there's 20% that it can't account for. So smoking increases your risk of lung cancer dramatically. It's known. There's not any question about it.
And it's not cool anymore, so stop it.
And, there are people, my grandpa, he smoked till he was 90 and he never did get it. Yeah, okay. Well, it's just like if you're in the casino.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And you can never say that you are on a streak. You can only say you were on a streak. In other words, your past performance can't predict your future performance.
Right.
Well, I'm on a streak. No, you can only ever say you were on a streak in the past.
Right.
So even if you're currently experiencing that probability wave, because it doesn't predict anything. Mm-hmm. So we don't have a blood test yet that says you can smoke until you're 1,000 and you'll never get lung cancer, heart disease, or stroke. Mm-hmm. If we had that and it was accurate, then go for it.
Have at it. Yep.
Go smoke. But we don't have that. So those people who are 100 that got away with it can just say they got away with it.
Yeah,
it doesn't predict anything for you or anybody else. And you can't generalize that and say, well, obviously it's good for everybody because that one guy lived to be 100 while he smoked. Mm. So, but smoking increases your risk of cancer. 80% of lung cancers are associated with smoking. Now, that never scared me when I was smoking. Heart disease and stroke didn't scare me when I was smoking. You know what scared me? Men out there who are smoking. If you're 40 or greater, it's the number one cause of impotence.
Right.
And if you stop it, it'll go back.
Yep.
It'll get better. So stop. That's what scared me. That's the one thing that scared me into stop.
Did I ever tell you why I quit dipping Copenhagen?
No.
Because
I know that you did.
I dipped it like I was going out of town. I woke up one morning, my face was hurting. I wasn't worried about losing my teeth or cancer.
Yeah.
But I thought if I did have cancer or I lost my teeth, I wouldn't be able to attract pretty women anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, I got to quit dipping.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre. It wasn't because it was costing $5 a can. It wasn't because it's got shit in your teeth.
No, it's all
about picking up chicks.
It's all about reproductive.
Isn't that bizarre, though?
Yeah, it is.
That's how simple. No, that's how simple.
Breathe into
That's how simple we are.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's
very strange. So.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I never would put something in my mouth that looked like that coming out of my mouth. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just looks like
it tastes
just
so
spitting
good. Oh my God, it's so
diarrhea.
good.
So are cigarettes, man. They
so
were
wonderful.
Good too.
So if it isn't just smoking, then what are some of the other risk factors? Well, one of them is secondhand smoke, obviously.
Sure.
That it increases your risk if you're around people who smoke. Number 3, though, radon.
Okay.
This is real. They used to sell those radon kits. People don't seem to be paying much attention to this anymore, but radon gas is naturally occurring. You can get a test kit to see if you have unsafe levels of radon in your home.
Sure. You can get the lows, you can get them, I think.
And if you do, it's real easy. You put 2 fans in your foundation and just create a draft under your house, and then it just vents it out. So it's not rising up into the house.
Right.
Asbestos exposure. I used to go gem hunting in an asbestos mine.
Oh, goodness
and we would
gracious.
find rubies and garnets and stuff like that. Don't smoke if you've ever been exposed to asbestos. The 2 things together are really asbestos is little crystals that are little fiber crystally things, and they get in your lungs and they never go away. The body can't get rid of them.
They're jagged like little spears,
They're jagged,
aren't they?
yeah.
Almost
And
like
they cause
spears,
sort of a chronic low-level inflammation that eventually causes some cells in your lungs to just convert to something very naughty.
Yeah, some awful, yeah.
And then there's just exposure to other carcinogens, arsenic, beryllium, cadmium, silica, stuff like that, mustard gas, inhaled coal products. So if you grew up with a coal-fired stove, there's a possibility there. Arsenic in your drinking water, just air quality. 5% of lung cancer deaths worldwide are due to outdoor air pollution. So I'm assuming that she lived in L.A., and, the smog, it may be. Let's look that up. Let's see if the smog in L.A. is been demonstrated to increase lung cancer risk.
Okay.
And then any radiation treatments to the lungs, or just family history. Family history of lung cancer can also increase it. So, but anyway, all right. So I hopefully they caught it early. Early diagnosis of all cancers is key. And if you catch it early, with stage 1, stage 2, you just lop it out and you're done. What'd you find, Tace?
The highest cancer risk, about 1,050 in 1 million, was detected in and around the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, so, she's a Hollywood actress, and maybe it was just she was just predisposed, and that kicked her over the edge. I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Now,
I don't
that's
know.
from October 2nd, 2014. Right under it, it says cancer risk from air pollution drops in Southern California.
Okay. Well, okay.
So,
It's the Big Bang Theory girl count.
I don't know. I never watched that show. So, hopefully they caught it early and they're going for a cure.
Southern California's cancer risk from air pollution has dropped 65% since 2005.
Wow.
But is still too high in many areas, regional air quality regulators said in a report released Thursday, and this was written...
Wait, Lovett is saying it's Kaylee Cuoco?
No. Hey, I've got it right here.
No,
I
it's
just
not.
found it.
It wasn't her.
It's Kate Micucci.
Micucci?
Micucci.
Yeah, that sounds like Micucci.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best I can do. You know how I am. In Chinese, it's Micucci, I think.
Okay. So, Patty, it's
But
not,
hey,
it's not Kaylee Cuoco.
No, it's not Kaylee. But here's the good news. It says she says that she's now cancer-free. So I guess they found her
Okay. So,
lung cancer early. And
yeah, if you have a nodule and it's cancerous and they remove it, you can go for a cure. So
that's cool. And this is recent. This is December 18th, 2023.
And by the way, your job right now, if you have cancer, is to kick the can as far down the road as you can, because they are literally coming out with new stuff every day. And I haven't updated the website as far as the non-pseudoscience cancer cures, but some of those things are still quite viable. They're in the pipeline. The one on, if you go to drsteve.com, it's a terrible website. It's I did it myself. It's awful, but It's just a stock WordPress template. But go to the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, click on non-pseudoscience cancer cures. There's all kinds of stuff in there, including the lady who had stage 4 cervical cancer that's now walking around today because they activated her T cells to kill her cancer. And back when I posted that, that was like, wow, look at this. Well, now, hell, that's on the market.
Yep.
It's called CAR T-cell therapy, chimeric antigen receptor T-cell therapy. And I can't say too much, but let's just say I know a person or two that have had this done. Right now, it's extremely expensive, and it is administered on a lottery basis in a lot of places. You just have to apply, and then they pick you at random because they can't get enough people to through the system. But when CT scans came out, they were run on a mainframe, and it used to take 45 minutes to do one. The CT scans now are run on a little PC, and you could do, 10 an hour.
Yeah, you do 5 minutes, yep.
So this is going to get better.
Okay, good.
And the cure for cancer is going to come from the immune system, not chemo or any of that stuff. It will be an immunologic response and not just these sort of blanket immunotherapies that we have now, like Opdivo and Keytruda. They're awesome.
Right.
But the true cure is going to come from targeted therapy against your actual cancer type, tissue type, and they'll generate killer T cells that will just go and just target your cancer cells and kill it.
Right.
It's coming. It's actually here for some cancers right now.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. All right. Let's try this one.
Hey, Dr. Steve. This is Shay in Alabama.
Hey, Shay.
Hey, I was calling. I have a question about multivitamins.
Okay.
So, with multivitamins, I try to take multivitamins, but, there's a pill for vitamin C, a pill for vitamin D.
Right.
All these other pills. Well, I'll get into a mode where I'll start taking them, and then, lo and behold, I quit taking them. But I was walking through one of the big box stores, and my wife's expecting and happened to pick up one of the prenatal vitamins.
Yes.
And this thing's got everything in it in one pill. It's got biotin and vitamin
it really
C,
does.
vitamin D, and omega-3 fatty acids.
Sure.
And, I just thought it'd be real convenient, be able to take one pill. Now, it is a prenatal, and I just want to know if I take this thing, are my stupid nuts going to shrivel up, not going to fall off,
No.
grow a nice set of
That's
boobs,
a great question, though.
or am I good to rock on and take one pill? Appreciate all you do. Tell Dr. Scott, though, that this prenatal does not have astragalus in it.
Oh,
hey,
no,
Casey.
Hello.
That's terrible.
It's no good then.
That's no good.
So, you can take them. Prenatal vitamins have molecules in them that are good for fetal development, like folic acid.
Okay.
And one of the things that folic acid helps to do is prevent neural tube defects. In other words, spina bifida and other things like that. Folic acid is good for that. They got vitamin D, calcium, vitamin C, vitamin E. They can help in women prevent low birth weight, birth defects, some preterm births, even preeclampsia.
No women type ingredients that might mess him up?
Nope. It doesn't have like estrogens in it and stuff like that. It's not like that. It's vitamins. It's just
straight up vitamins. Yep.
It's just straight up vitamins that are good for babies. And there are some men's health people who encourage men to take prenatal vitamins when they're trying to get their wives pregnant. And there's some scant evidence that some vitamin deficiencies can affect sperm and stuff like that. Well, it's not scant evidence. There is evidence. So, and now the question, though, is for non-pregnant people, are there any benefits to taking a multivitamin? Now, I'm encouraging our kids to take multivitamins
because their diet
is
shite.
Their diet is complete, utter shite. And if they ate a vegetable on their own, I would probably have a stroke.
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah, I would have the big one.
I'd have the big one.
So they will. I mean, when I was 18, 19, 20, I had a shitty diet too. And I know that they will come around eventually and realize that they'll feel better if they eat a more balanced diet. But one of the things that they got in their stocking this year was a big bottle of multivitamins.
No,
Yes,
funny.
wrapped and everything.
I said, if you will just please just take this. If you're not going to do what I asked you to do, which is go to the smoothie place and get, spinach because that's tasteless.
Yep.
And get some, mango
Any
or
damn
whatever.
thing other than cheeseburger or French fries.
Yes,
3 times a day.
Tenders, my God.
Oh, chicken tenders. On
Yeah, and pizza
Yeah.
and ramen. That's their diet. So, but anyway, so for them, I think there is some benefit because they're missing out on micronutrients and things.
Agreed. Yeah.
But some people think that multivitamins improve your energy levels or give you a stronger immune system. The data is really pretty spotty on this, but and if you eat a balanced diet, there's not a lot of benefit. But maybe it'll help, but it's not going to hurt.
Yeah,
it's really not going to hurt anything. I've always said this about vitamin D. People say, "Well, vitamin D, does it work?" And it's like, well, for what? What are you trying to accomplish? You trying to prevent cancer? The data says that it doesn't work.
Probably not.
But if you're trying to prevent rickets, hell yeah,
Yep.
I'm all in. So, but there is some data now that shows maybe there's some benefit in this, that, or the other. If you take I take vitamin D.
Me too.
Why not?
Yep.
Take it.
Just in case.
Just don't mega dose it.
Nope.
There's if you're going to learn anything from this right now, there's 4 vitamins that you should not megadose. And these are the fat-soluble vitamins. And the mnemonic is ADEK, A, D, E, and K.
Right.
Don't megadose those. Don't go above the recommended daily allotment of those if you really want to be safe. And then all the rest of them, the B vitamins, if you megadose on B12, you're just going to piss it out.
You'll figure it out after about 15 minutes. You start peeing it.
Yeah.
It's coming right out.
Yeah. So, but anyway, okay. All right. What do you tell people about?
I'm with
Supplements.
you. I think supplements, if you don't overdo it, they might be helpful, and certainly it's better than some of the diets that I see people eating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just we can't, with our lives, we cannot walk around in a jungle and eat 45 different varieties of greens every day.
Yeah.
And eat all day long. I mean,
Yeah.
we can't just pick what we want. And so I think that because of the way the food's raised, sometimes there's a need for supplements. And I do take supplements. I take a number of
Yeah, I do
supplements.
too.
Just in case. I mean, heck.
I'm saying all
Yeah.
this. I take a multivitamin
Yep.
when I remember.
Yep.
And then, I take a bunch of supplements that are just, have some anti-aging.
And some science-based, like for
a
memory,
little bit of
memory stuff.
Science behind it.
Yep.
And for my neuropathy.
Yep.
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 And if you know someone that's suffering from peripheral neuropathy, by the way, and they're not taking certain supplements, go to our website, drsteve.com or weirdmedicine.com, and click on for neuropathy sufferers. And there are 4 supplements that have some data.
Right.
And it's, the people that will take it faithfully will get some benefit from it.
Agreed.
Well, sometimes. I mean, I can't guarantee that, but
it's worth a shot, though, if you've got the neuropathy, for
right.
sure.
And my patients who have neuropathy from chemo, try them, and the ones that will take it faithfully tend to get some benefit from it.
Yep.
All right. This one, I'm not sure what he's asking, so see if you can dope out what he's saying, and if we can't, I sent him a message trying to get him to clarify it. But
Gotcha.
see.
Yes, I was inquiring about Ozempic. I know that it's supposed to help with your heart. I've had stents put in, and so I'm wondering, is that something that could help me or not? Give your point of view, please.
Okay, so I think what he said was Ozempic.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay,
That's what I think
I think we're all clear on that. That's the.
It's hard, but I think that's what it is.
That's the answer that we'll give anyway, or the question we'll answer. Always, what I learned in medical school too was if a professor asks you a question, answer the thing that you know the answer to. You don't always have to answer the question that they
Right on.
asked. Well, I don't know that, but I do know. So
Make some
anyway,
shit
something close. But semaglutide is Ozempic and also Wegovy. These are used for weight loss and stuff. And Tacey, you've had some experience with these drugs, right?
Yes, when
so-
I could get them.
And you sold something like this, right? At one
No.
point, or no?
No,
Okay,
I did not.
okay.
She's retired.
I knew at one point you were learning a lot about all the different
Yes,
diabetes
I've
drugs,
had
but
yeah
you had something
friends who sold it.
Okay, all right. Anyway, so they did a study, and they had pre-existing cardiovascular disease, either a previous heart attack, a stroke, or they had peripheral arterial disease. In other words, poor pulses.
Right.
And which can cause claudication, which is pain when you walk that goes away when you stop walking, et cetera, et cetera. And they also had a BMI over 27, so 25 being the cutoff for quote-unquote normal. Listen, we all know BMI sucks, but it's what we got. It's a real simple way to, to just kind of get people into the ballpark. Yeah. And what they found was that it significantly reduced the number of cardiac events in the people, even if they didn't have diabetes. And this was a large randomized controlled trial.
Which makes total sense.
Absolutely, it does. And I think that we're going to probably see these kinds of drugs used not only for weight loss and diabetes, but also for secondary prevention of cardiovascular disease. So pretty interesting.
Good stuff.
Just got to get
good deal.
insurance companies on
That's right.
board.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Until next
Thank
time,
you.
check your stupid nuts for lumps. Quit smoking. Get off your asses. Get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine.